All right, welcome into Prop 5 on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm Ethan Skolnick. You can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick at 5 Reasons Sports. I got David Eversole. You can follow him at David W. Eversole. Make your Thanksgiving more profitable. You're sitting there arguing with relatives about politics, about family stuff, and all that. I mean, play your parlays. Go to PrizePicks. Use the code 5, F-I-V-E. Put down $5. You get $50 to play. That's like a Black Friday special. Check it out. Use the code 5. Download the app, again, from the PrizePicks. For the Google Play Store, the Apple App Store, or PrizePicks.com. Again, use that code 5, F-I-V-E, and you get $50 to play right away. All right, 3 games today. David and I are going to go through them. We will start with the 2 that don't involve the Dolphins. Let's start with the Lions and the Bears today. Lions, of course, always play on Thanksgiving, and I have a pretty simple premise with the Lions. Maybe it's because I watched too much Calvin Johnson over the years. David, I tend to play their. I've had luck over the years playing their receivers. I don't know why. It's just it's one of those weird trends here. So I was looking through it. St. Brown's at 71.5 receiving yards. Jameson Williams, I think, is at 51.5. I'm going to go with the lower number today. Williams has been over his number, I think, 4 of the last 5. More of their big play threat. I feel like they will get the ball to him today, try to get some things done against the Chicago team and get ahead of Chicago early and sort of force Caleb Williams to throw the ball. You can see Jameson Williams 64, 124, 53 in his last 3. He had the one game against Minnesota, which was a washout, but then had 76 against Dallas. So 4 of the last 5, he's been over the number. I'm going to play Jameson Williams today over on receiving yards. What do you like in this game?
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be a super competitive game. According to the odds, Detroit's a 10.5-point favorite. The Bears have lost 5 straight, but 3 of those losses have been by a field goal or less. So I feel like it might be competitive early in this game. And the only way for the Bears to remain competitive is going to be to run the ball. So we look at these running backs in new situations like Derrick Henry, like Josh Jacobs. So in this situation, obviously you have DeAndre Swift, the former Lion, going up against his former team. I'm going to take a flyer on him and look at Swift over on a couple of his projections. Actually, the 1.5 reception goblin I really like for him. And I also like him over on 13.5 attempts. I think that's the only way they can keep this game competitive. And on the Lions side, probably Sam Laporta. His numbers have been down sort of this season, but I feel like against the Bears team at home, this is a game where he can definitely have an impact. I like him over on his fantasy score at 8.5 today.
Okay, so Laporta over 8.5. Both of us on the Cowboy side, I don't know that we're gonna have much to play here. I would be tempted.
These are 2 of the 3 worst run defenses in the league, but
Right.
Dallas just doesn't run the ball.
They don't run the ball, so I don't even know where you go with this.
I think you go Zeke over 13.5 yards.
Oh,
They're up in the second
maybe.
half. I think Dowdle will be more limited in his carries, and I think Elliott will get over this, measly total of 13.5 yards.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm looking at some of the numbers for Cooper Rush here, 213.5 passing yards. A lot of people like that. He's been way over the last 2. And they may, like I said, I do think they're going to be trailing and they're going to have to come back. But again, I don't know, trailing against the Giants, maybe not.
It's only a 3.5 point spread in this game. So it's not like people are thinking that Dallas is great.
No, I know. It's just that they could just wipe this one away from the schedule. On the Giants side, the rookie receiver, I was looking.
Tracy.
Yeah, I was thinking it because again, it seems like the way that they would approach this is to again try to get some big plays out of neighbors on the outside. He's been frustrated with the lack of touches that he's gotten. 69.5 receiving yards though he hasn't hit that in his last 3 or 4 of his last 5. He barely went above that against Pittsburgh. So I don't know. I
over this 21.5 on his first 2 receptions. Dallas is very susceptible to the big play. And that secondary has taken a big step down this year.
Yeah, I don't see a lot there. You know what? We tried this. Let's go to the Dolphin game. Let's see what we got. But first thing I want to mention is the Tyreek Hill prop is still on the board. So half a receiving yard. Unfortunately, I've lost with everything I've paired with it this week. So I don't know that I even have anything left to do. But you guys should definitely play that. I think you can play it up to $25, I believe. So you got to spread that out if you want to play. Play it with multiple multiple other pairs. On the Dolphins side, here's the thing. All right, everybody is focusing on the weather. This is not weather like they had in Kansas City last year. It's not
Right.
weather like they've had in some of these situations with Tua. I think that the majority of the issues with Tua in the cold has been the opponent. It hasn't
Mhm.
necessarily been the weather itself. He has played in cold weather in the past, and he hasn't been awful. It hasn't. It's not this whole noodle arm thing. They're playing a shorter passing game right now anyway. I don't think it's going to affect it all that much. So I'm inclined to play him over, but I'm inclined to play as his receivers go with Jonnu Smith. I just think
Yeah.
I don't think teams have really been able to take him away yet, and I don't think they want to because if they do, then they're dealing with Hill and Waddle on the outside. We saw Hill and Waddle work the middle of the zone a little bit better in the last game, kind of those short, quicker passes, those intermediate routes. But I still think Smith is going to be featured, and he's at 47.5 receiving yards. He's gone 87 and 101 in the last two games. And the way he did in the last game, David, wasn't on the one big play. It was
Mhm.
they hit it with a series of chunk plays. I do think, even though the Packers' pass defense is better than what they've seen of late, I do think they'll be able to get him going with that. So I'm going to go over 47.5 receiving yards with him. Um, I also would take a flyer on Beckham over 13.5 receiving yards. I think they're going to try to involve another receiver. Malik Washington's up there at 5.5. But again, Beckham played for the Giants for years, so the cold weather thing shouldn't be a factor to him. And I do think there's, although he's not what he was, I think there's a little bit of a secret weapon thing there with him where they
Yeah.
may unleash him a little bit tonight. What do you like in the passing game side for the Dolphins, and would you play Tua?
Honestly, I mean, Green Bay is one of the top teams taking the ball away.
Yeah.
Cold weather, guys might be half a step slow. Timing might be slightly off. I don't think the weather, like you said, is going to be a huge factor, but it could just affect a little bit of the timing on some of these obviously very tight window throws that Tua hasn't really been had to forced to make. So I would play him over this half an INT. Unfortunately, I think they take the ball away at least once from the Dolphins, but other than that, I mean, I'm probably going to lean towards Tyreek Hill in this game. I think he has a bounce back game. They got some pretty interesting demon plays today. The Tyreek,
Mhm.
if you don't have the half a yard, you can go for this half a tutty. Or the Zach
Yep.
Shield, a quarter sack is an interesting
Yeah.
one as well. So there's a few ways that you can go. And obviously, the resurgence of Jalen Waddle has been something really to watch. You can get in on one of his goblin plays here at just 24.5 yards all the way up to a demon play at 69. So you got plenty of wiggle room. I would play Waddle over this 3.5 receptions if I was going to play one of the receivers as my favorite pick besides Tyreek Hill's a free play on the board. But looking
Yeah.
at Green Bay,
Mhm.
I was going to say
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs is really
Yeah.
the straw that stirs that drink on offense. So he's just been a monster lately. I'm going to take him over this 15.5 receiving yards.
Mhm.
He's going to be heavily involved in the offense, I feel like, and they're going to, have some of that controlled passing game. The deep threats for Green Bay don't really scare me. It's more of their underneath passing game, and obviously the run game is what I think Green Bay does well.
Well, Jordan Love, 244.5 passing yards was under last week against San Francisco in a game that they didn't ultimately need it. He was over this number, this 244.5 the previous two. So he's been kind of hanging around that number for a little while. It is hard to pick through their receivers. I was looking at Reed's props, but Wicks's props, but it's just you don't really know where they're going in a given game. So I don't
Right.
know that I play those over. The one that I might look at here is Watson over 3 receptions. I could see that happening. I don't think I didn't have a catch against San Francisco last week, but I don't think Jalen Ramsey's there's not a receiver here to follow around the field
Yeah.
necessarily, like they've done some with Jalen this year. So I do think that different guys will get in here and Love will try to spread it around 3 catches here, 4 catches there. I might play that one over, but I'm with you on Jacobs. Honestly, I would play him. I think the 21.5 rush yards in the first 5 attempts is interesting to me. And I also think they are going to stay with the run this time. So 17.5 rushing attempts.
Yeah.
I might play that one too. 26 last week, 18 the week before. Had 13 the week before that, but then 25 the week before that. So they're leaning into him as it gets colder, and I think they'll continue to do that. A little bit of a different Green Bay team than we're used to because
Yeah.
they're not like throwing it all around the lot. They're again relying more on that running game. I always look at that Jason Sanders prop, that 1.5 field goals. David, do you trust him in cold weather enough?
I mean, no, there's other plays I just like a lot better.
Yeah,
So, maybe you take him on this over 47.5 long with McManus. It gives you a little bit
yeah,
of a hedge if the defenses are able to, to kind of stop the teams as soon as they get over midfield. Or maybe this combo play with a 3.5 field goals between him and
mm,
McManus might also be another way to go. So either one of those, but you've also this interesting shortest field goal made is 26.5.
yeah,
I might go over that actually. That's an interesting one.
yeah. I haven't seen that before. That's
Yeah,
yeah, they're getting a little bit. They're getting creative with that. Yeah, I don't. I mean, 26.5. That means basically a field goal from
like less
inside
than
the
extra 20, yeah,
10-yard line, right? Like
right.
inside the 9-yard line. Um, I
It's
don't
a
know. I don't
toss-up. I
see.
mean, it's one of those you just, you take a shot
I
at it.
don't. Yeah, I don't see Mike kicking a lot of field goals once they get inside the 9. Honestly, that would surprise me, particularly when they're going to need. They're going to need a punching in from those situations against this
Yeah.
team. This is not.
They're
This
gonna
is
need
not what they
points.
faced. The pace the past couple of weeks. All right, David, we appreciate it again. Make sure you check out that Tyreek Hill prop. It's over half a passing yards. It's hard. We didn't go through the Hill props because half a receiving yard. We didn't go through the Hill props because just play that one. Just
Yeah.
take that one. Don't get involved in the rest of that stuff. Waddle has
Don't
been getting
overthink
it
it.
going a little bit lately, and I considered him, but I can't. I don't know. Cold weather. I have trouble seeing him stay healthy. Um, pick one to a happy holiday. Over half a pick. Oh, come on. It's happy Thanksgiving. No, I'm with you, David. I think he does throw one today. I think
It just
this is unfortunately in the cold weather games. That is the one thing that is held up is there's been one or two
yeah.
throws
It's a bad bounce off
that
a receiver, just, a little
yeah,
mistiming, and Green Bay's a good secondary. They're good at taking the
yeah,
ball away.
yep. So see what happens. Use the code 5, everybody. We have a pregame show on the site already. The Inside Leverage show from this week. Also Pulse of Fins Nation. So make sure you check those out. Those still hold up. Be back for a post-game show after. And again, use the code 5 when you sign up. Have a good one.
Happy Thanksgiving.